Hello, my lovey, and welcome to another episode of ZFG Living Podcast. As always, I am Melissa Trumbull. Please call me Mel. And I am joined today by the wonderful Jessica Gentry. Jessica, will you please introduce yourself to the listener?
Hi, everyone. I am Jessica. I am actually Mel's social media manager, as well as quite a few of maybe even you followers. I'm so excited to be on the show today because I get to edit all the videos and see all of you other lovely guests that have been on here. So I'm so thrilled to be able to get on here and kind of debunk some of the mindset behind social media. So
I love it.
that is what I do and what I'm here for.
I love it. And mindset, as we all know, it plays a part in everything. If it's running your business, running your social media, interacting with potential clients, networking, like whatever you're doing, you have the power to change your attitude. Like big circle of everything in the world, tiny circle of what you can control, and what we can control is our attitude to whatever it is. And I know, obviously, Jessica, I hired you, and I think you're an angel because the stress of social media, and how to craft your message for your business and how to be consistent and all of those things and professional yet welcoming. And, it's quite daunting. So please tell me about what you do with your clients to help them, maybe shift that mindset around.
So I do a strategy call with my clients. Either it's offered for them to do one a week, or we can have one as they see fit because not everybody can meet every single week. There are busy people with busy lives. But basically, what I do as part of the management and strategy side of it is I just make sure to walk them through what they want, what their goals are, so that way I can align with them with social media. And then that way they get the chance to be consistent and show up always on social media, which is so important for your brand these days. But also they get the ability to be able to play in social media again. Like that is something that I've heard from so many people of how important it is to them that social media has been so overwhelming, and doing their own social media has gotten to the point where it's like, I don't want to do social media at all. But in today's day and age, you have to have it for branding.
Right.
So I love it because it takes away that stress of I have to show up every day. And then they are showing up every day, but then they also get to go in and just play with it how they want to, reply to people's comments when they see fit, or
Hmm.
message other people and reach out and communicate and still be able to do their own thing. But rest assured and know that when they
Right.
have those days that they feel like they don't want to be there, they're
Hmm.
still showing up.
Right. They're still there. And for me, with my mental health, it's been an enormous blessing and a burden relieved because there are some days when I'm like, can I get out of this bed? I
Yeah.
can't seem to lift my arm, and it's just like, hi, depression, my old friend. How are you? Came by for a little visit, did ya? And I mean, I have all the strategies and the habits in place to get myself up and moving and stand in the sunshine for a minute and, just recognize that there's a big, beautiful, amazing world
Right.
out there. And the ability to have someone who is on board, understands me, because like that, you're a genius at that. Like you can roll with like this dog and pony show happening between these two ears, and you're a partner in the business for me in a way that is creative and challenging and being held accountable. And you're also very kind with people being, I don't know, inconsistent. And I appreciate that.
Well, that's what I do. We always make sure, and that's something I tell everyone is if you can't show up for yourself, I'm going to show up for you. Even if you have a week where you don't send in videos, I'm going to go out and scour the internet and find a way to repurpose something, even if it's pulling audio and putting it over a B-roll, or, just those kinds of things. So that way you're still showing up without being like overwhelmed, because you'll have those weeks. I get it. I have struggled with depression and anxiety before. So I get the feeling of like, I really don't want to get up out of this bed and
Mhm.
show up for myself, but you're okay with showing up for other people a lot. So for me, it
Yeah.
makes it easy. So when I have those days, I'm like, oh, I have people that are depending on me to
Right.
show up for them. Like I have to do this. So if anything, I feel like my business has helped me overcome that mindset a little bit
Mhm.
with depression, like you were saying. Like, it's one of my tools.
Another question that I have about mindset, because, I get people asking, like, what is a mindset coach? And what is that? What do you do? And you just, honestly, I encourage people to build habits.
Yeah.
And I work with them to find the habits that will resonate. You mentioned when we were talking earlier about just stepping outside first thing in the day and
Yes.
letting the sun be on your skin and looking at leaves or, clouds or whatever.
Yeah.
That is something that is so grounding
Yeah.
and helpful. And, also, of course, checking in with your senses. I always recommend, like, do the little rub your
Yeah,
fingers
I do that
together
now.
so you can feel the fingertip ridges of your fingerprint. And what we put into ourselves, our minds, is also important. It's not just about nourishment and water and the exercise or movement. It's also about being mindful. And social media has changed so much, since the pandemic that, hella people got addicted to their
Yeah.
screens and scrolling. Doom scrolling is a real thing. I mean, there are finally, I think there's a bipartisan effort from our Congress to have some meaningful legislation that will limit children's screen time.
Which is
Sadly, I
great.
don't they can't limit the adults, and we're scrolling, just as much, if not more. I mean, give me some cat videos any day of the week, please.
Yeah.
Any
Yeah. I
kittens
love
and
cat
puppies,
videos.
please. So it is a mixed bag, as an entrepreneur, that I don't agree with overdosing on social media, and I know that it is the most effective way to get my message out to people and to help more people and introduce the idea that you can reprogram your subconscious.
Mhm.
And so when this is your job, right? Like you are in it elbows deep all day, all the time. And so what do you see as the biggest changes over, like, let's say, since the pandemic?
Really, the biggest change that I've seen, especially at least for businesses, like if you're running your business on social media, is that, before the pandemic, it was so easy to just make a post. You could post like, I don't know, 3 times a week, and you were doing something, like you were really doing something. Your business was showing up. Then the pandemic hit. And then everyone in the entire world was like, social media, like I can do this. My business doesn't have to shut down. I can just put it on social media. And that's kind of what screwed the pooch for everybody, I should say. Because then all of a sudden you have, instead of being like one person out of 100, you're now one person out of millions and billions.
Mhm.
And it was so hard to find your niche and be able to reach out to the right people. And honestly, now social media is more about branding yourself instead of really being able to make money off of it. And I know that that sounds bad, especially coming from someone whose business is all about social media. But one thing that I really try to debunk for people is the idea nowadays that it's as easy as just showing up consistently and being able to just make money. It's a
Mhm.
long-term process. And
Yes.
it's really also a process of finding where your audience is going to lie. Like,
Mhm.
I always recommend posting on 4 platforms minimum because you have consistency there, but then you also see like, okay, TikTok and YouTube are really great for me, but Instagram and Facebook, they might not be so great. I know I need to
Mhm.
show up consistently, but now I can look into my audience on the other platforms and see where it's like where my message is hitting with them.
Mhm.
But really, the biggest change, like I said, is just it's not as easy to just show up on social media anymore because everyone's doing it.
Right.
And you have to find a way. And I feel like also coaching is kind of fallen under that same scope. Like everyone was like, oh, I can be a coach. I can do this at home on Zoom. That's easy way to make money. And now that market is oversaturated
Mhm.
too. So it's difficult. Well, it's not difficult. I should say it's fun for me. For someone like me, it's fun to be able to play around and see where people land, where their message is.
Mhm.
But from a business owner standpoint, it's overwhelming because you have to
Mhm.
focus on your business. And if you're focusing on social media too, that's a whole other business.
It
That's
can be.
like as a business owner, are you doing your own accounting on top of it all? Like, if you're doing all the parts of your business, then are you really able to focus on your business, or are you
Mhm.
focusing in your business? So that's
I love
where
that.
I feel like someone being on your team for social media can not only just make it fun for you, but it
Mhm.
allows you to be able to focus on your business. So you can focus on your strengths and grow them more and be able to show up better for your clients instead of like, oh, well, I can't schedule a call with you because I have to go make a reel, or I have to go edit 3 hours and then post this video out.
Right.
So it's because social media has been taken to a new level almost. Also,
Mhm.
because you have all these people with fancy cameras and fancy microphones, and they're all going out with all these cool gadgets, and they're making almost like Hollywood production style videos that are a minute long, like
Mhm.
getting posted on social media, and that's a lot for people. I mean, it was a lot for me to understand the nuances of it, so I can't imagine the overwhelming mindset it can be, especially for the, like, generations older than I am who didn't grow up with the internet. I grew up pretty much with a phone in my
Right.
hand, you know? There's a lot of people that I have that are clients that are like, the internet came out when I was in my teenage years, like,
Yeah.
and that's for me, it's like, oh, well, I know how to do this thing in 2 seconds, but it could take someone else an hour to learn how to do it. So,
Exactly right.
it's like it can be overwhelming, but being able to find someone that you just that gets you, that wants to be able to pour their love and attention into you and help you brand is so important today in today's day and age if you have a social media presence. And if you don't have a social media presence, you're also missing the boat because you're missing out on thousands of people that could be hearing your message.
And that is so frustrating because it's like, okay, I'm just another voice howling in the wilderness with all the other monkeys, but and yet I still need to do it because it validates the business. It's kind of like having a website. People will
Yeah.
typically look at my website one time just to verify that I am legit, I do exist, I am the same person. That's my picture, that's who you talk
Yeah.
to, and maybe they'll like click a link to buy a book or something, but typically it's like a business card
Yeah.
that I pay hundreds of dollars a year for. So that's not, you know, and, and it's interesting because with social media being such like it's an instinct to say, I'm using social media to connect with people. Well, are you? Are you just
Yeah.
like entertaining yourself with someone else's kitchen renovation or thinking, "Oh, maybe I should move that door." Or I'm probably betraying my age by saying that's the kind of stuff that I go down rabbit holes about. But when you're using social media for your business and you have a crafted message, like I feel like I'm a rare bird that has my personality in my videos and posts, and
Yeah.
a lot of business owners are
Don't.
not as comfortable on camera or in front of a microphone, and that is, happily for me, a barrier that I didn't have to bridge, but when you're asking your clients to do videos, like, and they are uncomfortable with it, like, do you have to become their therapist? Like
In a sense, but it's also more like I like to really think of it like I become like a sibling to them almost, like mindset wise. Like I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, I get it. I'm gonna nurture that side of you, but I'm also gonna tell you that you got to get over it.
Right,
Like
right.
in the nicest way I possibly can.
Mhm.
Because unfortunately, again, everyone uses reels and short form videos. Like, and if you're not showing up on that thread and using that algorithm to your benefit, you're missing out on so much potential.
Mhm.
And if you don't want to get on camera per se, there's ways around it, like voiceover videos. Those are a
Sure.
great way to get your message out there, but people have to see motion. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't understand. I had a client yesterday. She was talking to me and she was like, I have some static images created and I'd really like it if we could like pop those into a reel. And I was like, I love you. I do. Like, I hear you. And I know that you think that's so great, but I'm going to tell you why it's not a great idea.
Right. Well, now tell
um,
me why it's not a great idea right now in
because
2024.
people want motion. Like, they want some form of motion because people's attention spans have shortened so much over the last 10 years. You used to have between 5 to 10 minutes to get someone's attention. Now you literally have 45 seconds before they're on to the next thing. So and in that 45 seconds, you have the first 3 seconds to hook them in. And if you
Mhm.
don't have motion and it's just a static image with music behind it, they're swiping on to the next thing because there's something that's going to capture their attention and
Mhm.
keep their little brains happy and boost their serotonin to where they just go on to the next one. So that's why it's so important.
And so we have been having the most lovely gallivanting convo, and I hope that the listeners and viewers are enjoying it. And then we'll have your information in the show notes,
Yes.
and of how they, if anybody wants to reach out to you, ask you any questions about this. So thank
Oh,
you.
and I'll have a free little freebie in the show
Oh,
notes
excellent.
also. It's 5 strategies to help your business in social media because and it's funny when I was making it, I was like, I don't want to give away my secrets. Like, what do you mean? But then I was like, you know what? Honestly, I can't give them away enough because for one thing, I don't want to be a gatekeeper of
Right.
social media. Like, that's just not me. I want to help people. That's why I started
Exactly.
doing what I do. And I'm either going to find the people that want to work with me because they're like, I can't do this on my own
Right.
and I don't want to do this on my own. Or I'm going to be able to help someone be able to overcome their own issues with social media. So
Mhm.
there will be a freebie and I am going to have it. I'm so excited for people to get it.
Yay.
Um, so that will be in the show notes as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jessica Gentry.